What is up, my YouTubers, and welcome back to Craftopia. How are you all doing? Today we're going to be doing two builds. First, one of the builds is we're going to be making a larger gold farm in a dungeon. The second build, we are going to be trying to make an AFK farm for Fenrir. So as you can see here, I did go to the Hell biome to collect most of the requirements to advance in the age, which I did do later on. As you can see, grabbing a load of the Hell peppers, grabbed all of the wood that I could and the crystals as well. That was all fun and games using the very basic gear. As you can see, 0 enchants on my armor, the very basic of armor there as well, and just the trash that I was picking up from dungeons. I also went and used up all of my slates of growth that I had collected and just put some points pretty much, well, not random, but I'm pretty sure, you know, most of you will say I'll put it all into stamina, but, you know, I want a little bit of everything, so that is that. I did run into another dragon, still with crappy gear. We did down him, and he did drop some loot for us. And yes, it took me absolutely forever to try to down this one. But as you can see here, he did drop, you know, a nice little two-hander for us and some other bits and pieces for us to use later on. I then took a couple of photos with a very strange looking and evil looking cow. That was also fun. Unfortunately, it didn't drop anything after I whacked it a couple of times with a new toy there. Had a tag team of King Monos as well. That was very very fun indeed. And that brings us to the gold farm that I made in this dungeon here, where I use lava to pretty much kill off the mobs and all of that good stuff. So as I didn't have, or as I still don't have, wings to fly with, getting down was a bit tedious and a bit slow. However, we did get there in the end. So once we got down, I laid out some flooring, you know, pretty much planning out where I was going to build stuff and how much of this space am I going to use, and paying attention to that massive rock thing, moving backwards and forwards. Pretty much didn't want to build anything near that thing, because I don't know how it's going to interact with you know, some of the items like breeders and all of that good stuff. Now, I did had numerous setups. I tried a number of things, and as you can see here, my breeders, they were a little bit behind the edge of the floor there, and the reason for that was because the elephants were bumping the breeders up, and that was giving me some concern. The other thing that I needed to do was lay down some conveyors in order to collect the drops, because I just wanted to have them sold in one location. I didn't want to have a number of markets and a number of absorbers working at the same time. So as you can see here, I'm pretty much trying to get low so I can close up the back, so I won't have any loot dropping behind there. As you can see, I think next time what I would probably do is I would add conveyors pointing in the same direction that the breeder is, so if any loot does go behind there, then they'll be pushed forwards onto the conveyor, which I'll be laying down in a mo. So yes, putting down the conveyors was a bit of a pain in the neck, because getting the view was pretty damn hard to get it to snap where I wanted it to. And as you can see, you can barely see where the arrow is facing, you know, at that angle. However, I did get them all down in a T shape, so I removed the 45 degree and pretty much just put that at one tile forwards, and where that 45 degree is, I had another flat conveyor, which I put down like that, and there is where I'm going to have the 45 degree conveyor pointing upwards towards our marketplace, like that. So the loot gathering is pretty much a T shape. It's going to be picking up all of the loot from all of the three soon to be columns of breeders. So yes, during all of this process, I did have, I was farming up gold and all of that good stuff. I needed the gold so we can advance the age. I needed 10 million gold there to advance the age. And as you can see, I already passed that because I did have, like I said, a number of setups, tried a number of different things as well. My main goal was to try to get 3 breeders being healed by 1 cooking pot of green monos. While I did like this setup, having the breeders a little bit behind the edge of the tile there, as you can see, the elephants were sort of like getting a little bit stuck and pretty much not falling straight down as soon as they're spawned. That was kind of like bugging me a bit, but having the lowest, the bottom floor breeder, having that with the pipe protruding the edge would have the elephants bumping the breeder up a little bit, which gave me some concern. But as I progressed through this build, I now noticed that cooking pot is not going to be healing the elephants at the top, so the third row. During all of this process, I was making our glass on the go, because it's quite a slow process to make, so I was doing that, whilst I was actually building, whilst I was, in this area. So what I had to do, I had to increase the level of the cooking pots, so when the monos die, they would be in range of our topmost row. Topmost row in this case is going to be the 3rd row. And to do that, I had to use 5 of those little drone platforms stacked on top of each other. And like that, where the monos die, they would be in range for the bottom row, for the elephants on the 1st floor, and then they'll be in range for the elephants on the 3rd level that I set up. Getting them to fall down and align properly can be a bit of a pain, so it's a lot of trial and error. You're putting it down, you're picking it back up again, putting it back down again, but you will get there eventually. I did get it to fall down in place, pretty much just walking backwards and forwards on that little breeder just to get it all nicely lined up, so they're all nice and lined up now. Every cooking pot there has 2 droppers attached to them as well, leading, dropping all of the bits and bobs that the monos create into the marketplace directly underneath. So I've got currently 2 marketplaces, one for the monos drops and one for the elephants drops. However, later on I do add in a 2nd marketplace just to make sure I keep up. So yes, there we are starting to put down the breeders for our little monos so they can heal the elephants. We've got 3 pots, for the 3 columns. I mean, that's pretty much simple. It's pretty much your standard, your default way of making your little healing pot of monos. So yes, that's pretty much the setup. As you can see there, I did do a little mistake. I should have put down the monos of the breeders for the monos on the cooking pot first. But I did it the other way around on this one. But yes, during all of this process, I was, farming up the elephants drops and selling them off in the marketplace. As you can see, totally went past the 10 million mark that I just wanted. So yeah, that is pretty much the setup. And this setup, you can repeat it as many times as you want on top of each other. So if I was to put down another layer to start off with, just picture it being 1 floor above that breeder here at the top, and then you just repeat the whole process again using the 5 drones for the cooking pot. That is pretty much the most important part of this build, is the 5 drones for your cooking pots. And there goes the last breeder for that setup, really, for those 3 breeders there. And that there is pretty much the finished product. So like I said, you would replicate this by just starting from the very bottom layer, 1 floor above, the 3rd row there. and that was making about 1.6 million every 4 minutes. So it's a pretty sweet little deal there. And then we have all of that to fill up by time and patience, slowly filling this whole thing up all the way to the very top there. Alright then, so let us go through oh Christ my health, what we have done over here. So you're probably going to say, well, this is a very similar setup to MDS, who streams Craftopia. Unfortunately doesn't stream in English. So there is that. Come on, man. Give me some help. No, that was a poisonous mushroom, you absolute muppet. Well done, me. Okay. Alright. So yes, you're probably going to say, well, this is kind of like MDS's setup. I'm going to say, well, no. It's different in terms of down here. Is different, and what we are doing is, you see, MDS, what he likes to do, he puts down one of these guys. Oh crap, that one didn't catch on fire. Either that one? Now you're gonna start to make me look like an absolute muppet because I'm recording? Seriously, game? Well, and there you go, and then another one lights up. Well, yes, it does have issues, for sure. So I was saying, like, you know, with MDS, he puts one of these things down and he goes around it with training dummies. He then catches those training dummies on fire. Now, I would have probably done the exact same thing. You know, I would have probably just copied that and just used that. But the reason why I didn't is because the training dummies, they despawn every time you leave and enter the map. So that is why I didn't, because you then have to make them again. And they're an absolute pain in the ass to put them down on this thing. And then you have to light them up on fire. So I tried to work out a different way of doing it. And I've sort of like come up with this method here. If we look, let me just get this thing out of our face and get this little guy over here. So if we look at these little markings on the roof, you see these very small little grey ones? I started to put them, firstly, I had to see where the mob is falling first. I believe it's only that torch that is going to light it on fire. I don't think any of the others are going to do any difference whatsoever. So I believe it's just the one torch affecting everything. However, I made sure to put the torch pretty much exactly where the mono would fall. So if we look at the top there, as you can see, we have our little green tube just protruding from that roof tile. And the mob would fall pretty much directly in between these two grooves here, these first two grooves. Let me just get some more health going. So yeah, and then I just pretty much, without using G, and don't use G. I believe when I was using G, it just didn't really work at all, and freehand like that, just moving it freely, was much better. Except I did use G to put the plate down, this dashboard down. So we have that. It looks like I have to fix up our item collection thing. No problems. Okay. Yeah, and I just made a row and put that down. Now, the thing is, like I was saying with MDS, you know, he has to reset and he has to put down the training dummies once again. Even with this, you're going to come in, I mean, you're going to put down your talisman just to turn off Fenrir from spawning as soon as you come into the map. Okay, that is what I have done at the top here. Somewhere around here. There, so if I'm standing over there, all the way at our other pad, where I would like the loot to go and where I can just stay nice and chill and gather all resources coming towards that centerpiece there. I just go up the little tower and chuck this thing on the conveyor, and it's going to turn off Fenrir from spawning. I would also come here and I would take one of these guys off as well, because I know that when I'm going to come back into the map, that thing is not going to be working. So I put the guys on, I jump down the bottom here whilst they are active, and all I do so they don't fall on my head is I just put that down a conveyor belt like that in the air on the second floor there, on that second level. And that would just push them down this hole here, and you can just work on this and set it up once again. But as you can see, yes, it is definitely not consistent, that is for sure, and that's quite upsetting. However, at the same time, they do detonate the other ones that are on the floor. So when it comes to item collection, or you know, the loot and all of that, I did put these things up to keep everything condensed here in close to the middle. The reason for that is, as you can see, there's all of these eggs. They were just spreading out all over the place because we are using, you know, thermometers coming down like that, and if one of them doesn't catch on fire and is just down here, then that one that gets killed, his items are just going to fly off everywhere, which is, you know, an absolute pain on the backside, which you don't want, because they're just going to start to generate lag, really. So item collection is going to be quite an important thing, which I have yet to properly work out. So right now I'm just going to do something a little bit temporary. So yes, it does appear that that one is definitely not going to be in range. And if we go any closer, for sure, Fenrir is going to damage that. Let's just try to get rid of these guys. Excellent, beautiful. Okay, so we got rid of them. Yeah, it isn't that consistent lighting them on fire, that is for sure. It varies. It definitely varies on placement. It definitely varies on placement. So the better you're placing, the bigger percentage that they're going to catch on fire. I've noticed the red ones are much more resilient to fire. Green ones will just catch on fire straight away with no problems whatsoever. And blue ones are, you know, a little bit harder than the green ones to catch on fire. So over here, what I've done is, this was the first thing that I made. I just pulled out, you know, a row of roofs from that mountain there. The reason, because I don't have wings. I can't fly right now, so I can't just fly and put something down in the sky. So I got that. Got a little healing pot just for me, so I can just stand beside, you know, a couple of bits and bobs. These were going to be used for me gathering up the diamonds, but I could not heal the very small little diamond, those little purple ones. I'm pretty sure you can. I probably was using insufficient leveled green monos for the job, but you know, that's something that I'll be messing around with another time for sure. So right now, what I want to do is I want to get rid of our talisman, which is, whoops, all the way at the top there, like that. And hopefully Fenrir will spawn very soon. Okay, so it looks like we have Fenrir over there all spawned, nice and happy. Chillax. Most of my stuff is not catching on fire, unfortunately. Like I said, I've had better you know, ratio of lighting them on fire, so it is very, very placement you know, sensitive, that is for sure. So we'll just have to see. As you can see there, you know, one of them lit, a couple of them blew up next to him, so I'm sure they're doing damage even as they're blowing up next to him. So they're still doing the damage, just, you know, it's just taking a bit longer than it would. Alrighty, so we did kill him, but as soon as he went down, another one spawned. Which is absolutely insane, and something that I really did not want. I really did not want you to respawn just yet, so I'm going to put that down. I'm going to quickly pop into one of the dungeons where I got my elephants, which is right over there. That's my little elephant gold farm. He should despawn, and we should be able to collect, you know, whatever he's dropped. But yes, as you can see, you know, it definitely needs a crap load of tweaking for sure. So really, you know, we'd love to hear your suggestions and ideas. Okay, so popping into the dungeon, coming back out again, and yeah, Fenrir is not there. That is very nice, very good. So yes, our loot collection for sure needs work. Oh, now they're catching on fire, bloody, you know, one after the other, isn't it? Now they are. Honestly. Or not. Oh, yes, they are. So yes, loot collection is definitely something that I have to work on. Unfortunately, he didn't drop anything too awesome, but you know, we're getting the claws. Claws is the thing that I really wanted to get hold of. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here because I've been at it I've really been at it so long. I've been experimenting so much, especially trying to get the diamonds, the little diamond nodes to heal up as well. That took me ages and I didn't get anywhere with it. So yes, unfortunately it's not 100% complete. Sorry about that, but you know, it's kind of working. It just needs more work on it, more refining. And we should be able to do it without, you know, having to constantly build up training dummies and, you know, put down like 10 or 12 training dummies around one of those drone rings. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and as always, you know, leave me any comments, thoughts, suggestions, tips, and all of that good stuff in the box in and down there. So for now, I'm gonna say take care, and I'll catch you all on the next one.